Hey, I'm here with Trendy Treats again. They are a freeze-dried candy company here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And last time I visited them, you didn't really have this whole facility that you're operating this business out of. And so Jesus, who's co-founded this company with his wife Mel, is going to take us through a tour of Trendy Treats. So you're getting a very special treat today to show everything that happens here in this facility.
Yeah, no, thank you for being here. Actually, you were the first one to ever come to this facility, and I know it looks completely different already. So I'm excited to show you guys everything about the facility because we put in a lot of work. We really poured a lot into this building. And then I want to start off with this wall actually. We started in 2021 actually. We started out of my bedroom. That's where the company started. It's what our bag looked like. Just a sticker. We didn't know what we were doing with nutrition. Didn't really have nutrition labels, and then we learned the name to the game. We should probably put the back of the bag now on there to show the progression of that, just because it was one of the toughest challenges is not being involved in the food industry and then saying, how do I even tell someone how many calories this has?
And I was gonna notice too, like right here, like these are stickers for all your labeling of your product, which like a lot of people do when they're first starting out. And now you actually have it printed in bulk. And you have a little bit more direction of like what the entire bag looks like, but you're still stuck with the window too.
Yeah, so we have some exciting stuff coming for 2025 that we're already working on, and you'll actually be the first one to see it here on your channel.
Oh yeah, and if you want to see the Globo first reveal to me, you can check out the previous video that I did for Trendy Treats, which that was the first person that really kind of tasted it from a media perspective too. So it was awesome. That's when it launched, and now it's blowing up. So now, let's take a look.
Let's show you guys the candy factory. Here through this hallway, we have all the candy that's ready to get shipped out to stores or online e-commerce like Amazon, TikTok Shop. This is our new product right here. It's actually the Gummy Ghost, which we'll actually let you try. I don't think you've tried it yet, right? It actually launched 2 weeks ago. It's the first product. It's actually not the first product that we launched, but it's the first product this year that we launched that's not freeze-dried.
Okay, so yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. So it's not a freeze-dried product, but it's just a new candy that's sweet for your business.
Yeah, so it's a Gummy Ghost. It's Jilly has been our mascot since we started the company, and we're finally bringing him to life. The first thing we did was make his own candy. So it's a sour blue raspberry gummy that we launched. It's doing well. So as I said, everything on this aisle is ready to get shipped out. So this is orders that have been processed already. As you can see, we're currently all across the US in a few different countries, and yeah, this aisle is just dedicated to product that is ready. We might see some boxes, but that's only because we sell specialty boxes now to some stores and they have to get built in store.
So what made you decide to like focus on two different types of candies, the freeze-dried and also now just adding more non-freeze-dried?
So it's funny, but when we launched, we actually launched as an online candy store in 2020, and we sold all different types of candy. The first candy that we actually made in-house was a slime candy. It was edible slime that you could play with and also eat. And then we decided to launch a sour spray candy that makes everything sour. I can show you a little bit of those examples of what we had. But then after that is really when we got into freeze-drying candy. And when we got into freeze-dried candy, it's what a lot of people started getting to know us for, late 2020. We were always thinking about our name because we launched as For You Feed, and we were always thinking like, should we launch as freeze-dried candy? Should we launch as a freeze-dried candy store? What should our identity be? Because we were an online candy store at the time and we didn't know what route we wanted to take. And the reason we decided to launch as Trendy Treats is because we didn't want to be tied into one specific type of candy. So we almost went with our whole brand being tied up to freeze-dried, and the reason we chose Trendy Treats is because we always want to provide people with trending candy and trending treats, and we've always just had that mission. Our mission has never been to provide people with freeze-dried candy. It's been to provide people with trending treats, and that's why we went all in on freeze-dried candy early 2020, and that's why we've gone all in ever since then. But as we continue to grow and evolve, we want to keep providing people with the candies that they love and innovating the candy industry.
It sounds like you do a really good job of listening to your customers of like what they want and then making the candies that they want to have.
Definitely. I always tell people our customers are our CEO because they decide where we go and they decide the direction of the company.
Yeah, and their mission has always been to make the world sweeter. So it's all building upon that. So awesome.
So we have all different types of products that are going to get freeze-dried early. We have all our bags, different types of pouches. This is what's next in line to get freeze-dried. So for anyone wondering if we're still freeze-drying Skittles, I think the answer's right there. We have a lot of Skittles that are still getting freeze-dried. We can take a small peek over here.
All right, so you have this big facility. When I was first here, you know, you didn't have these freeze dryers. You didn't have all this, you know, the stuff that actually makes the freeze-dried candy. So tell us a little bit about what we just went through.
Yeah, so we went through our freeze-drying station, and then we also have our preparation station on the other side. But what we just went through was actually what we thought we were gonna grow into, and we've outgrown the place already. We're not running at full capacity here right now, just because we're not running certain SKUs with each other, just because of the time it takes to prepare. But we just walked through a freeze-dried station, so that station is actually temperature controlled. We have all the heat being vacuumed out of that room, which is why it doesn't feel hot. How you would expect a room full of freeze dryers to usually feel.
Yeah, one of the things I saw when I was here was all the ventilation that you have, because you know, the freeze dryers produce that heat from the pump and the freeze dryer, so you've got a really good way to kind of get the air flowing out of there. Okay, so one of the things, Jesus, that a lot of people ask when they're looking at getting, maybe not to the scale that you are, or maybe they are, but they're like, how do I store candy? Because like I need to make a lot of production, but also like sometimes there's ebbs and flows of supply and demand. So talk about storing your freeze-dried candy for future packaging.
Yeah, so honestly, it feels like we learned things the hard way. I don't know how much candy we've ruined because of that. I think the best thing is your environment. We used to work at a warehouse with a swamp cooler, and I remember running it all night because we had an all-nighter, and we produced candy all night, had the swamp coolers going because it was the middle of the summer, and we were gonna package the next day. When the packaging team came in the next day, it had all regained moisture because we left the swamp coolers on. So I think first it's your environment. We don't have swamp coolers in here. We have machines that actually help us remove moisture from the air. We try to keep it as moisture free as possible.
Yeah, and these are all freeze-dried Skittles. So, you know, you've produced a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Like how long will this stay in here?
This will stay in here for a day, but if we really needed to push it, it would stay here for a week. If it needed to stay here longer than a week, then we transfer it to our other warehouse, which I feel like is way better to keep product at just because of moisture.
Nice.
But yeah, right now they're double wrapped. There's only so much you could do though. It's so much candy, it's so heavy. It's really hard to try to put this in another bag, and it's really labor intensive. So I think for us, it's just packaging it as quick as possible and getting it sold so people can eat it.
A lot of people are trying to source their bulk candy or get candy in bulk. What's your advice for people starting out who have grown a little bit outside of getting it at Costco or Sam's Club, things like that? How do you go about finding a great source for your candy?
If you think you need a distributor because you're having to go to multiple Walmarts, let's say, it might be better to keep going to multiple Walmarts unless the time it's taking you to go to multiple stores is too much. It's really hard to beat these stores at price. We currently do bring in stuff through distributors. It's more expensive than what you're getting it, but the reason we're doing that is because the amount of time it would take to get it at local stores wouldn't be worth it for us. But I would say don't try to make that jump too quickly. It sounds cool getting it from a distributor. It sounds like you're the big guy, but if you could get away with getting all your candy from Walmart, it's how we started, you're gonna have a way higher profit margin than getting it from distributor.
Now we're standing next to the Gummy Ghost. So when you're making your own candy though too, has that driven down the cost and all your expenses to, since you're making your own candy, now you don't have to really go to the Walmarts, you don't have to go to these distributors.
It's supposed to in the long run. So when you initially launch something like the Gummy Ghost, it's a lot of testing and learning. It's a lot of trials. We're not making a lot of Gummy Ghosts. I think Gummy Ghost we haven't made over 1 million pouches of Gummy Ghost. When we make over 1 million pouches of Gummy Ghost, at that point I would say, hey, we're making this product, we're getting it really cheap. It's because it's our product. But when you're launching and you have to make 10,000 just to test it, it's gonna be really expensive just because you're not buying at a level where distributors consider you big. So you're paying retail prices for everything just to test it. As far as boxes, pouches, packaging, if you're ordering 20,000 pouches, that's not a lot to a company that's used to selling someone millions of pouches. So it's more expensive at the beginning. But if you're in it for the long run, it's gonna be cheaper.
Yeah, you haven't reached the equilibrium yet of like, okay, once we hit this amount of volume in the gummy ghost, then we start making a profit, and it continues to start getting more profit, more profit, more profit as you grow.
So now we're actually heading to the marketing and media room, which is the most exciting part of the warehouse. We are gonna skip this side of the second floor. No top secrets, it's just my wife's office, and I think it's super lame.
Well, yeah, there's always those places of the office that are not that sexy.
It's really professional, really nice, really neat. You'd probably find it on Pinterest, but not in a candy store. I don't approve. And then back here is actually where we use, where we freeze dry stuff that you see on the videos. So none of the freeze dryers that you saw downstairs get used for videos. This is where all the filmmaking takes place. It's just this small room. This is probably 90% of our content on the channel that you see. So Trent's not here, Crash, the face of our channel, but this is what he's got going on right now.
That looks like a brain.
It always got interesting stuff.
So we're at the wall for the awards here.
Yeah, this is actually the most famous wall on our social media. If you look at any of our social media pages, we usually do all the biting here and all our thumbnails. So if you just scroll through our social media, I think 99% of them have the thumbnail of this right here.
Silver one for the awards for YouTube with Carrying Bartender. It's 100,000. Trendy Zeus right here. This is yours, right?
Yeah, this is for 100,000 for Trendy Zeus. They actually sent a really nice letter, which we like to keep, but it's just a letter from the CEO of YouTube.
Give this video a like so I can get to 100 as well.
You'll get there.
I'd like to get 100K.
You'll get there. We have 100,000 for Trendy Treats, and then we have the 1 million for Trendy Treats. The next plaque available is at 10 million.
I came here in late March 2024, and you were at 1.6 million subscribers, and now as of this video you're at,
I think 4.6.
Yeah, 4.5, 4.6. So you've grown almost 3 million subscribers. How did this happen? And was I just here at the moment that like nothing had been implemented and you were planning on just exploding, or did it happen randomly? Tell us about this.
It didn't happen randomly. I think we just have momentum and we haven't stopped. Consistency is really important. Listening to your audience is really important. When you have a wave of an audience that's watching you and supporting you, and when you have 1,000 people, they can only tell so many. But when you have 1 million people, they can tell a whole another million people to follow you. And when you have that momentum, you're showing up, you're always there for your consumer. They're gonna keep consuming, they're gonna like the content you watch. I owe it all to our team that comes up with the creative processes, that works with me on creating all the videos. And I think secondly, it's just trusting like God. It's the reason that I have this up here. It's a painting of Jesus looking down on us, and it's just a reminder that like when I come in here, it's who allows me to do everything that I do and just chase my creative workflow and has given me this talents. And it's just this, like it's just the reminders of like what's important, our plaque because we did it as a team, and then just a portrait of Jesus because it's what we always have in our heart.
One thing I noticed is you're less and less in the videos, Zeus himself. So why did you make that transition, and do you feel like it's really helped your brand get exposed to more audiences because you brought different personalities in?
Yeah, I love business, and I love giving other people the opportunity to fulfill and chase their dreams. So I know that it's a role that's really seeked for, is the role of being a YouTuber, of being a creative. So for me, stepping away and saying, hey, bringing someone that's way more talented than me, first of all, and then giving them the opportunity to be a face of a successful channel and really just have their point and take their creativity onto the channel is something that I think I love the most about being a business owner and an entrepreneur, is giving someone else that opportunity. And second, I love business. At the end of the day, I launched a business, and for that very reason, because I love business, I love entrepreneurship, I love solving problems. I know that you gave me a heads up, you're gonna ask about the freeze-dried Skittles that are coming out. I love situations that make me have to change my whole game plan, because it's where I feel I thrive.
I'm glad you brought up the freeze-dried Skittles and Mars coming out with that, and Hershey, because it's very recent as of this video. So let's go to the Sour Hour room and let's talk more about that.
Let's do it.
Okay.